The film opens with a disturbing scene where a young woman named Mel crawls her way out of a grave. Before she can escape, a shadowy person wielding a pickaxe appears. Mel pleads for her life, but the attacker shows no mercy and kills her. Sometime later, the story shifts to 5 friends traveling together on a road trip. Among them is Clover, Mel's sister. The group has come to this area because it's the last place Mel was seen before disappearing. Their first stop is a small roadside store where Mel had recorded her final video message for Clover, expressing how deeply she missed their late mother and explaining that she wanted to leave home to heal from the loss. Megan, who seems to possess psychic abilities, suggests that everyone hold hands to connect with lingering energy from the place. Just as they begin to focus, a loud truck horn interrupts the moment. Clover then heads inside the store. Max tries to follow her, but Nena stops him, revealing that Clover and Max were once in a relationship that ended badly. Inside, Clover shows the shopkeeper a photo of Mel and asks if he's seen her. The man explains that Mel is missing and mentions that Clover isn't the first person to search for someone here. He warns that those who travel deeper into the nearby town, especially toward a place called Glore Valley, usually never return. Outside, Abe, Nena's boyfriend, questions the group's intentions. He thought the trip was meant to retrace Mel's last known movements, but it becomes clear that Clover is determined to actively search for her sister. Abe warns that chasing answers like this often leads to serious trouble. Shortly after, Clover returns and tells everyone she believes she's figured out where Mel vanished. They continue driving, entering a heavy storm and dense, unsettling woods. The road seems endless, looping over and over. Nena suggests turning back, but Abe refuses. Suddenly, the storm disappears on one side as they arrive at a strange yard, surrounded by dark clouds, with a lone house nearby. Curious and uneasy, they decide to investigate the house. Clover stays behind, confused by the sharp contrast between the stormy area and the clear ground she's standing on. Max waits with her. Inside, Abe, Nena, and Megan explore the building and discover old items from the 1990s, including a large sand timer fixed to a wall. Nena finds a registry book on the table and writes her name in it. As she flips through the pages, she sees many names, including Mel's. This discovery confirmed that Mel had been there. Nena notices that Mel's handwriting suddenly becomes messy toward the end, as if written in panic. Abe begins recording on his phone and enters another room where he finds a wall covered in posters of missing people, Mel's face among them. Outside, Clover spots someone who looks exactly like her sister. She rushes into the storm to follow the figure. As night falls, Max manages to catch up to Clover and pulls her back to safety. When everyone reunites, they try to make sense of the terrifying situation. Nena notices that the sand timer has flipped over and started counting down. Suddenly, loud banging noises come from outside. When they look, they realize their car has been moved from where they parked it and is now sitting on the storm-covered side of the property. Terrified, they hurry back into the house. With no phone signal, Clover suggests searching for another way to contact help. Nena and Abe stay near the window to watch the figure near the car, while Max, Clover, and Megan head into the basement. The electricity flickers, so Megan uses her phone as a flashlight. Clover tries a landline phone, but it doesn't work. Megan finds an old radio and turns it on, but only hears static and painful screeching sounds. Back upstairs, Abe hears a loud noise from another room and goes to investigate. After he doesn't return, Nena follows him. She switches on the light and is horrified to see her boyfriend brutally cut in half. Her scream alerts the others. Max rushes in and sees the masked killer standing over the lifeless body. He runs back to warn the others to hide. As they hide, the figure slowly passes by them. Seeing an opening, Max attacks it with a chair, but the blow has no effect. When he tries to stab it with broken wood, the figure grabs it and stabs Max through the eye, killing him instantly. The killer then finds Megan hiding in a closet, drags her out, and violently smashes her face against the floor. Clover emerges from hiding and stabs the masked attacker with a knife, but even this fails to stop it. She runs out of the building into the woods where she finds another figure that looks exactly like her sister. This distraction gives the other figure the opportunity to easily impale her from behind, and she falls down to her death. The countdown is complete and the Sandman is starting to restart, and everyone begins to return to the exact moment that triggered the events that just occurred, with everyone still bearing the scars from where they were killed or injured. They remember what happened to them. And in the room with the missing people's poster, the group pictures have now appeared as a fresh poster of the new missing individuals. Megan's psychic abilities start to kick in, so she tells the group she can feel the energy of the dark force getting stronger. Abe thinks it's best to find their way out of the building and leave this haunted place, but Nina rejects the idea of leaving the house because the masked figure might be out there. She reminds them that they were all murdered just 10 minutes ago, and that her name has already appeared twice on that registry book just like Mel's, meaning the night is just on a loop and repeating itself. The lights begin to flicker and a loud slamming of a door can be heard. When the group checks, there's no one there, but the door keeps opening and closing on its own. Abe holds the door closed and Max uses an object to hold the doorknob. Seconds later, Mel's voice can be heard crying for help outside the building. Clover hears this and desperately wants to save her sister, but the group reminds her that this might be a trap. Ignoring their pleas to go outside, she goes out and doesn't find her sister. Not only that, a mysterious building is now sitting opposite them. Suddenly, a strong force pulls Clover towards the opposite house while it pushes the others into the current building and shuts the door in front of them. Max wants to go and save his ex, but Abe holds him back, telling him to use his senses. Going out there would mean getting the same fate as Clover. He asks Max if he's just trying to cling on to Clover to see if he can get back with her again. This angers both Max and Nena, who is upset with her boyfriend for making such a comment. Clover wakes up inside the shady home to find some eerily-looking masks, and around the corner an old lady is seen breathing with the aid of an ambulatory tank, listening to a news broadcast about a disaster that occurred in that town. Clover tries to leave the house, but the door appears to be locked. The old lady approaches her, and Clover begs to be let out. The old lady tells her that the only way to make it out is to survive the night or become a part of it. She then grabs Clover to suffocate her with her mask, possessing Clover while the old lady slowly starts to disintegrate. Abe and Nina make it to their car, ready to leave the town, only for their way to be blocked by a giant monstrosity. With no choice, Abe reverses the car. As soon as they try to leave the car, the door appears to be shut without any way of opening it, and the masked figure appears in front of them to kill the duo. Max makes it inside the shady building where he finds different types of toys with a chair swinging on its own. After making sure it's just the wind moving it, he turns around only to get slashed by Clover, who's now wearing a mask. When she walks outside, she gets rammed by the masked man with Abe's Jeep. The time restarts again and everyone returns to the significant moment where everything started. The only difference is the water tank that is seen but wasn't there before. Realizing the mistake they made that caused their previous deaths, the group shuts down all the doors and hides inside one of the bathrooms. Thirsty, Abe grabs a cup and takes water from the top, asking if anyone would like to drink. Everyone raises their hands. Clover shares what the old lady told her before their previous death, saying they need to survive through the night. Max suggests that maybe all they have to do is just not die until dawn, and if they don't make it, they might get stuck here forever as part of the night horrors. Abe begins to cough his guts out while the group tries to make plans on how to survive. He tries hiding the blood on the curtains, but things take a dark turn when he starts to cough uncontrollably until he explodes with his guts spilling into Nena's mouth. She tries to wash it off, but Megan stops her, pointing out that it's the water that caused it. And at that moment, Nena also explodes instantly. Realizing that they all drank the water and would meet the same fate, the group rushes out of the bathroom to the living room. Mag starts to cough just like the others, and she's met with the same fate. Clover begs Max that she doesn't want to go through the same thing as the others and pleads with him to choke her to death so they can come back and come up with a plan. Since the registry shows many people with repeated signatures, it means they came back. Max can't bring himself to do such a thing, and he explodes right in front of Clover. A man walks into the room, and it turns out to be the cashier from the store earlier. He tells Clover that she almost made it and that she can't survive by sitting still, and her head explodes almost immediately. Once everyone is dead and the timer is up, everything restarts all over again. Megan notices she's growing an extra tooth. Clover points out that waiting for the timer to count down doesn't work, so they start digging around to find something to help them make a plan. Clover finds different IDs of the store owner, who's known as Dr. Hill and was once a chief psychiatrist in this town. Abe finds a newspaper containing the news of a mining disaster that happened in Gloro Valley 20 years ago. According to the report, the disaster was caused by miners boring too deep into the earth, resulting in the death of over 1,000 people. A trauma specialist, Dr. Hill, was brought in to help the townspeople who survived overcome their trauma. Realizing that the town was buried during the disaster, Nina sees a door and thinks maybe it's a way out. However, when she opens it, she sees a pathway that looks very scary, so they decide to find another way out. Megan thinks whoever is behind what they're going through wants to keep them afraid.
Max finds a VHS tape, and when he plays the recording, they can see a man inside what appears to be a lab, begging to be let out. The doctor overseeing the experiment explains that the patient is showing signs of starvation and muscle atrophy, but most importantly, intense fear and anxiety, feelings of hopelessness and utter despair. The dive adds that the trauma of the mining disaster still lingers, affecting both survivors and visitors. The longer they are trapped, the more desperate they become, turning them into monsters known as Wendigos. The radio in the room starts to work now, and Hill tells them that there's a way out, but they have to pay a price. One of them has to die in order for the rest to make it out of Gloro Valley. Clover refuses to sacrifice any of her friends. Determined to find another way out, she finds a map of the town and points out where the doctor must be hiding. Clover tells Hill that she wants to see him face to face, and he agrees, but only Clover has to come alone. Abe thinks it's a good idea since they only have 4 nights remaining. All the other signatures on the registry didn't make it past 13 signatures, so they need to take the shot. Clover agrees to meet with Hill, who reveals that he's in the woods with her sister. Hearing this, Clover is ever determined to find the doctor. The others try to stop her from leaving, except Abe. Abe points out that they can't keep dying over and over again, and if meeting the doctor would end the cycle, so be it. Besides, Clover has tried killing herself 2 times this year. While talking, Na impales Abe with a pickaxe as a punishment for convincing Clover to go look for her sister in the woods. She tells Megan and Max to go look for Clover while she stays behind with her boyfriend. Clover is wandering inside the woods when she's caught in a trap. She tries to take it off, only to get dragged into the dark shadow in front of her. Meanwhile, Megan and Max are already inside the woods with a flashlight looking for Clover when some goo falls on Megan's shirt. Looking up, they're horrified to find a Wendigo, so they start running toward the house.
Unfortunately, Megan trips and falls on a glass. Underneath is a buried house. With every movement, the glass keeps breaking. Max grabs her hands to pull her over, only for the Wendigo to jump on Megan, both falling into the underground building as the creature drags Megan's body into the shadow. Max manages to find Clover still alive but trapped. Mel appears from the shadows as a Wendigo. Before it can attack them, Max quickly grabs a mousetrap to use on Mel's face. This buys them enough time to run further into the woods to hide. Clover begs Max to enter this time, promising that they will return to fix things better. Max reluctantly agrees and sloshes her. Now left alone, Max drinks some water droplets and explodes in front of Mel. Just as Clover wakes up to another cycle, Abe is starting to feel something on his back, and when he shows the others, it appears he's mutating. To calm him, they tell him he's fine. Clover asks how long they've been there, and Max guesses maybe it's 4 nights, but Na confirms it's been 13 nights. She tells her to check the registry book, and because nobody has ever made it past 13 nights, the group must try to survive this night if they want to make it out of the town alive. When Clover opens the window, they see entirely gloomy houses that weren't there before, noting that they don't remember what happened last time and the time after that. Mel appears to be missing, and no one remembers anything except Abe, who remembers he had been recording with his phone ever since. He plays some of the videos for the group. A claw is seen wriggling on Clover's face, and when she turns around, her face has become that of a monster. A couple of other recordings show how they all died. The last recording is of Megan, who decided to follow Dr. Hill to find out if she can see what he's hiding, and maybe find a way to get out of this place. A siren wailing can be heard outside, and when they look out through the window, they see some Wendigos making their way into their building. The group decides to grab some weapons and look for Megan, which means they have to go through the doorway they were scared of entering before. It turns out the walkway is a tunnel that leads to the sunken village that was talked about. The group makes it into one of the buildings and finds a Wendigo scouring through some remains. In order not to attract any attention to themselves, the group has to stop moving and wait for it to leave. Unfortunately, one finds them, so Clover traps its leg with a pickaxe, and now the group can run to safety. Inside the room, the masked figure bursts in through the roof and the creature tries to attack Clover. Max tells her to go find Megan while he distracts it. Max attacks the creature and they work together to bring it down, finishing it off with a huge hammer to the skull. On the other hand, Clover is attacked by Mel, but she's finally come to terms with reality and pushes her onto an iron on the floor, killing her instantly. Clover finds Megan trapped in a lab with a Wendigo chained opposite her. Clover goes to the other room to find the key to the door, only for Dr. Hill to close the door behind her.
Looking through her file that was left on his table, Dr. Hill tells Clover that she's been an intriguing patient, as she suffers from severe depression, extreme anxiety, and 2 failed suicide attempts. He explains that every monster she has encountered in this valley has been a manifestation of her own fears. While talking, he backs Clover into a corner, giving her the chance to place his coffee mug under a leaking water pipe.
She puts it back in position for him to drink. While all this is going on, Abe, Naw, and Max are being chased by a herd of Wendigos, and Megan is terrified as the creature in front of her is about to break loose. After drinking his coffee, a few seconds later, Dr. Hill starts to feel unwell. Realizing what just happened, he tries to attack Clover, but she pushes him farther away from herself and he explodes. Clover is able to grab the key and rescues Megan at the last minute before the Wendigo gets loose. Together, they make it out and immediately shut the door behind them. This is far from over as other creatures are now chasing after them. With time almost running out, the duo finds an opening and runs toward it. Max and the others are able to find them in time and drag them out of the hole. As the time runs out, but this time it doesn't restart and the sky appears to be normal again. The once never-ending storm eventually stops. Abe is already in his car asking the group to get in so they can leave immediately. Thanks for watching.